Rachel McDuffie for the people.
Assistant Public Defender Allison Muller here on behalf of Jeremy Holt. Mr. Holt, can you have the jail unmute you again and state your name for the record, please?
Hello, Jeremy Holt.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Holt again.
Morning.
Ms. Muller?
Yes, Your Honor. I talked with Mr. Holt. Mr. Holt would like to admit to the violation at this time.
Mr. Holt, please raise your right hand to be sworn. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. You may lower your hand, sir. Is it true that you tested positive for cocaine on February 15th and February 29th of 2024, sir?
Yes.
Thank you. I find that there's a knowing, willing admission to the violation. Are you satisfied, Ms. McDuffie?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Muller?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right. As to the pretrial?
Your Honor, I would request if we could, I know there was the original date of the 21st, I believe. I don't know if we could just keep that on the docket and adjourn today out until then so that Mr. Holt has a chance to speak with Mr. Lebo and make a plan for that date.
Were you trying to say something, Mr. Holt?
I'm sorry?
I thought you said,
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I can do that. We will adjourn the pretrial. Pretrials continue to March 21st, 2024 at 9 a.m. Discontinue.
Okay.
Sorry, Your Honor. Did you say, will the sentencing for this be set out for the 21st as well?
I'm leaving his bond as it is, which is a 10% at this time. So,
okay, so the court won't. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I did have just some mitigating information I wanted to provide to the court, but will the court not consider altering bond?
You can give me whatever mitigating information you may have.
Your Honor, Mr. Holt was just very clear to me that he is struggling with substance abuse, but he does feel like this really was a wake-up call to him. I think he was picked up, directly from the last positive test, and he said for him just the kind of the really guilt he feels. From my understanding, his fiance is in really poor health. She suffers from strokes or no seizures, he said. I'm sorry. And this just really, he feels very guilty. He said that was the wake-up call. He guaranteed, at least to me and to the court, that he will not drop or test positive again. He is willing to get help for his substance abuse issues. He said that he has an assessment scheduled at Dawn Farms with or out of community corrections with Dawn Farms on Wednesday. So he was planning on doing that. He is working. He works at Red Oak Inn at Belleville. He does need to continue to make money. He said he's pretty close, a year and a half out from paying his house off. So he would like, if able, to make the plan to get substance abuse treatment, to keep working, paying off his house, helping with his family and his home life.
Thank you. Ms. McDuffie, response?
I appreciate Mr. Holt at least admitting that he has a problem. My concern is that, first of all, the underlying circumstances of this case, I'm obviously not asking him to comment on them, but the charge itself, this is a operating with the presence of a controlled substance, which was cocaine. His second offense, his prior, was reduced, I think, from that same count just in 2020. This case involves a crash into a school bus with children on board and another vehicle. And cocaine was one of 5 substances in the system at that time. Part of his violation for community corrections was failure to submit a prescription. At least one substance might be explained with a prescription. I don't know that they have that documentation yet, but obviously cocaine is the biggest issue here. I'm concerned about his health, her, and the whole communities. Because Mr. Holt, I think that the original incident, crashing into a bus, would have probably been a significant wake-up call. But just this last positive test representing him now being, I guess, willing and able to engage in some treatment, I'm concerned that it took that to cause that effect. And I don't know how ready Mr. Holt really is to commit to that. I'm concerned about him continuing to drive. I'm concerned about him as a danger to everyone, including himself. So I think the bond that is currently set is very reasonable, considering all of that.
Thank you. Mr. Holt, yes. Ms. Muller, could you hear me?
I can, Your Honor. I'm sorry. There's a lot of feedback, but I can't hear.
Your client has his hand raised. Do you want to allow him to get this?
Mr. Holt, I would just advise to really not speak to any of the underlying charges. I'd be very careful. If you have any mitigating information as far as your bond, you can share that with the court, but I wouldn't say anything beyond that at this time, okay? Do you have anything related to your bond to express to the court?
I was just about the Suboxone prescription. I did call my doctor, and I guess that it was my fault for assuming that they had taken care of that, because no one at Community Corrections never said anything to me about it. About that, it had never been faxed over from my doctor. I just wanted to say that and I apologize for that.
All right, thank you, sir. Well, given the allegations of the underlying offense in this case and the continued violations, the court is extremely concerned, and I'm not willing to reduce the bond any further at this time. I find that 10% in light of the bond violations is fair. So I'm going to leave it as is.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Called me the first time, I know that. I thought I was at the time and said he told me the homeowner was waiting and thinking.
Okay. Okay.
Good.
I'm just. All right, thank you. We'll see you then, Mr. Holt. State of Michigan versus Natasia Hets, case number. State of Michigan versus Natasia Hets, case number 22S00386.
Rachel Lee, Deputy for the people.
Assistant Public Defender Sandra White on behalf of Natasia Hets.
Miss Natasia Hets, she had been here for the longest. Miss Natasia Hets.
Shoot. Hello.
Hello, Miss Hets. Please state
Hello.
your
How you doing today?
good. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Could you please state your name for me, please?
Sorry, Natasia Hets.
Thank you. All right, so Ms. Hets, I guess I need to arraign you on your probation violation. Ms. Hets, it is alleged that you violated the no contact order in this case on February 18, 2024 by having contact with James Moore in case report number 24-12668. Apparently you hadn't mentioned this contact to the probation either as of February 23rd, 2024. You're entitled to have a hearing on this matter, at which time, if it is found that you violated the terms of your probation, you could have your probation revoked. The recommendation at this time is to have you take another class. And if, and from what I know right now, I would follow that recommendation. You're entitled to have a hearing, like I said, or if you admit, if you're found guilty or you admit, you could have those additional penalties imposed. Ms. White, do you know what your client would like to do?
Ms. Hets wishes to admit to the violation.
Thank you. Ms. Hets, please raise your right hand to be sworn. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. You may lower your hand. Ma'am, is it true that you had contact with Mr. James Moore on February 18, 2024 in violation of the no contact provision of your probation, and you failed to mention this to probation department?
Yes, ma'am.
Find that there's a knowing and willing admission to the violation. Are you satisfied, Ms. McDuffie?
Yes, Your Honor.
Satisfied.
Thank you. All right, as to sentencing, have you had a chance to go over the report with your client?
I have, Your Honor. We ask that you accept the recommendation.
Anything from the people?
I'm really concerned about this report. I was already concerned about Ms. Hetz, obviously, when we started. I was hoping that things were going to go well because Ms. Hetz had kind of hedged when she took the plea, and there was more background about her continued contact and more damage caused to this victim's vehicle after the case she pled on. And he had, I think, an impactful sentencing and plea when the judge said some very, I think, important words to Ms. Hetz about her getting what she needs to feel supported and to appreciate herself and her own self-worth. This report has a lot of things in it that really challenge my confidence that she's going to be able to get what she needs out of this probation process, because this is not just seeking out the victim, denied who she was to police. She created a scene, I think, at this establishment, but then provided an excuse about just happening to be there, and not knowing who was going to be there, and couldn't back that up with the Uber delivery rationale. If Ms. Hetz is at the point where she's not being honest with not only herself, but police and everyone else around her, taking willful voluntary actions to seek this individual out and continue to have these confrontations with him, I don't know where we're going from here. I really, and this is while she's on probation, obviously, because we're talking about a VOP. So there's even consequences hanging over her head on top of that. I don't know what's happening with Ms. Hetz and why it doesn't seem to be getting through to her that not only is this not a way to behave, but she's hurting herself in ways that are completely avoidable. And I don't know that the work is being done to get to the root of her issues here by her.
If I may.
You may.
I believe when she finally did speak to probation, and I'm trying to verify that, yes, when she did finally speak to probation, she did admit that she let her emotions get the best of her. So I would ask that we follow the recommendation.
Ms. Hetz, is there anything you want to say, ma'am, before I impose sentence?
No, ma'am.
Ms. Hetz? This is
Yes,
your last warning. This is your last warning. Do you understand that, ma'am?
yes, ma'am.
If you violate again, then you will leave me no choice but to put you in jail. Because I see that you don't respect the court's orders and you're going to do what you want to do. You got to figure out how to get your emotions in check and to do what you need to do to take care of self. Do you understand that part?
Yes.
You're reminded to have no contact. You need to enroll in the Crossroads Impulsive Behavior Program within the next 2 weeks. You have 14 days.
Okay. Quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
Do I have to pay for this class too, or is it free?
I don't know the answer to that. You can talk to probation.
Okay.
You either pay for the class, ma'am, or you can do some jail time. Do you understand
I was
that
just
part?
asking that. Yes.
The next review will be on April 29th, 2024 at 10 a.m. So I can see whether or not you're in the class and you're doing what you need to be doing. I'll see you then, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. State of Michigan versus Deion Monson, case number 22-00743.
Rachel McDuffie for the people.
Assistant Public Defender Sandra White on behalf of Deion Monson.
Deion Monson.
Thank you, Mr. Monson. Mr. David, 1 second, sir. Mr. David Shan.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. This is Dijon.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Shan, are you here
Yes.
for a particular matter?
I thought we had a sentencing with Willie Caldwell this morning.
One
We
moment.
just received a note. Oh, I'm sorry. The court
Your
member.
Honor, he is in warrant status, and we also got an update in regards to a new violation with Mr. Caldwell.
Okay. So he is not actually on the docket, Mr. Shan, today.
I had no idea that there was a violation, and he just got out of treatment at Oakdale on Thursday.
Oh, he's supposed to be bringing something up to the court.
It just came in this morning that he
He-
was released
he-
from inpatient Thursday. He reported today and tested positive for alcohol and cocaine, and he's going to jail.
Oh.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
I will let him know.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Now we're back on the Deion Monson matter. Mr. Monson, as far as your matter is concerned, you're on a violation of probation. It alleges that you tested positive for alcohol. Alcohol was detected by the scram tether, on February 10th, 2024, in violation of the no alcohol condition of your probation. You're entitled to have a hearing in this matter. At this time, if it is found that you did violate the terms of your probation again, then you could have your probation, well, actually, this is a technical violation. The recommendation at this time is for 5 days in the Washington County Jail. Do you understand that, sir?
I'm sorry, can you repeat your first few sentences, please?
It's alleged that you violated the terms of your probation by testing positive or by having alcohol detected by the scram tether on February 10th, 2024. You're entitled to have a hearing, which you're very familiar with. If you are found to be in violation of your probation again, you can be subject to up to 10 days in the Washington County Jail. The recommendation is for 5 days at this time.
I understand.
Have you had a chance to speak with your client regarding this matter, Ms. White?
I have, Your Honor.
And what would your client like to do?
Mr. Monson, are you still going to admit to the violation?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to admit to the violation.
All right. Raise your right hand to be sworn. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
Yes.
Thank you. You may lower your hand. Sir, is it true that your scram tether detected alcohol on February 10th of 2024?
To my knowledge.
Are you satisfied, Ms. McDuffie?
Yes, Your Honor.
Satisfied.
All right. Sentencing today?
Yes, but we are asking that you do not follow the recommendation.
I plan to follow the recommendation.
May I have the floor, Your Honor, please?
There is a few things that Mr. Monson would like the court to know that we hope the court would take into consideration.
You can say whatever you like to say at this time.
Please.
If I may, Mr. Monson, and then if there's something I missed and you wish to speak, okay?
I'm sorry.
The client, Mr. Monson, is doing his GED with Covenant House. He is doing community service with Food Gatherers, and he has signed a release of information. He's making his payments towards the ARM course, but it has to be paid in full so he can start the case. And he wants the court to know that if he does go to jail, then he will lose his spot at Covenant House, and he will lose his job.
But he knew that when he was drinking.
May I now have the floor, Your Honor?
You may.
Thank you. So, as I said, to my knowledge, yes, there was an alcohol detection. I was not drinking, though, Your Honor. I haven't drank since March 2nd of 2023. So in my sworn testament, I was asked that, was there a detection of my alcohol tether? To my knowledge, yes, there was, but I have not drinking, Your Honor.
Mm-hmm. One moment, please. I need to pass this matter. I'm going to come back to it in a moment. We'll call the matter of the state of Michigan versus Mauricio Weatherspoon, 23S00785. Mr. Blanchard, could you come here, please? State of Michigan versus Mauricio Weatherspoon, 23S00785, as well as 24T00022.
Rachel McDuffie for the people.
Paul Barnett on behalf of the township.
Assistant Public Defender Sandra White on behalf of Mauricio Weatherspoon.
Sir, could you please get them to unmute you? Mr. Weatherspoon, could you please get them to unmute your device?
No, really.
State your name, please, sir.
Mauricio Weatherspoon. No, they can make fun. They can make that box.
All right, we're here for pre-trial. Violation.
As for the pretrial in the state case, there was an offer of HIDA. If that is still available, Mr. Weatherspoon wishes to take that off.
That offer, I know it's a lot of background noise at the jail, so I'll try to speak up. That offer of HIDA came directly from the court, I believe, due to Mr. Weatherspoon's age. I think, Ms. White, you have provided some sort of, is this the case where you had given some sort of mitigating information? I can't recall. I know we had a couple Weatherspoons.
Can't either, I'm sorry. I think that might have been the other Weatherspoon.
Okay.
I don't remember there being any mitigating circumstances, but I do remember that this was prior. So that Cobbs was extended on January 11th, 2024.
Yes,
This
Your Honor.
happened on January 18th, 2024. I don't know why I would still do that.
And not only that, Your Honor, we have the new offense that he's arraigned on for the township matter that's up to date, as well as I think the incident or the situation that occurred during his arraignment that I had emailed the court about some time back with Magistrate Braley and probation copied as well. So I don't know if that's something that we need to address or not, but I'm concerned about Mr. Weatherspoon comprehending the importance of any of this, really.
So the court, any options to hide a particular case have been withdrawn.
We would ask for an adjournment.
I can do March 18th or March 25th.
The latter date, was that March 25th? There's so much background noise.
Yes, March 25th is the latter date.
Yes.
March 25th, 2024 at 9 a.m. Bond is continued.
Right. So that's what I kind of figured what it was.
We're all set, Mr. Weatherspoon. I'll see you on March 25th. All right, the court will recall the matter of the state of Michigan versus Deion Monson, 22-00743. Please place your appearances on the record again.
Rachel Deputy for the people.
Assistant Public Defender Sandra White on behalf of Deion Monson.
Yes,
Please state your name again, Mr. Monson.
Deion Monson.
Thank you. All right. Ms. McDuffie, I believe that I left off with you having not having an opportunity to say what you needed to say. Is there anything you'd like to say on this matter?
Your Honor, Mr. Monson has been given more breaks than I think honestly are warranted. He wasn't even sentenced to probation at all back in October, and I recall being very shocked at the time, given all of his bond violations, his pending cases, and I think the lack of the substance abuse and mental health assessments that the court had ordered several months ago, and I don't even know if we ever did get that information. Everything relating to alcohol with him this entire time has been a complete denial, including not just the scram tether that we had a full hearing on the last time, which he apparently continues to maintain that he did not consume alcohol following that in the current violation, and including the open intox in the underlying case. I recall that we had to pass the case for him to review the report and the photo of that bottle of liquor with his attorney during the plea. So Mr. Monson has just absolutely denied basically ever touching alcohol, at least in terms of this case itself and how far back this goes. There is a level of, I don't even know what to call this, quite frankly, Mr. Monson, but Mr. Monson was told that he could not be released from custody, and we never did get them, but he was allowed to go on home confinement, violated that a number of times, but was still allowed to be out. And, you know, we're here today. And so now he's on probation, as I, figured we may end up here, and it's continuing to violate that. I don't know the status of, I know that he, I think, was sentenced to probation on his other the bond violation regarding the ambulance case, and his drug case, I think, was bound over to circuit court. So I don't know where his other matters stand, but clearly Mr. Monson has a lot going on that I think he can even fully comprehend and appreciate. I know that I don't want to say talks a good game, because I don't mean to say that in a condescending way, but Mr. Monson has the ability to represent himself very well. My concern is with his insight as to what he's actually representing and where he really is.
Thank you. Anything else you'd like to say, Mr. Monson, before I impose sentence?
Would saying anything make my sentence worse?
Potentially.
I'm sorry?
It could potentially. Could not. That's up to that depends on what you say.
Okay. In regards to all my underlying cases, I've thought about them in regards to, me having to be on these two tethers. I think about them often. I think about them in a way to where I do a lot of my own self-reflection, and I understand that there are a lot of probation terms that I need to do. I need to do all of these things that you guys have put on me. I understand that, and I understand the reasoning why. I am taking full responsibility for all of my underlying cases. However, in my efforts to what I do now, I feel that I wouldn't say deserved, but I feel that a consideration, a leniency should be considered. I've been baptized recently. I've been working. I'm getting into school. As my public defender said, I started making payments towards the armed awareness course. I'm also trying to make payments for the installments through 14B. I've been planning with my probation officer, and with that, I've also been in contact with my probation officer I would say almost every other day. Despite me having this detection of alcohol, I've made every single Scram Tether meetings with Brandon Casey, who is the Tether supervisor agent. Again, I can just reiterate that these past two detections, I have no clue how they might have happened. I haven't drank. In regards to I remember the case where you guys had to remind me about the open intoxicant in my vehicle. I still remain the case that it wasn't mine and it was my brother's. He was in the car with me at that time, but I understand that I have to take full responsibility because it was in my vehicle and in my cab. I just hope that I can be let some leniency here and able to prove you my efforts and continuance of my efforts. I apologize for blotching my words and sentences, but I am a bit nervous right now.
I understand why you would be nervous, sir. And you've always spoken very well and you articulate well. So that's not something you need to apologize for.
Thank you.
The problem is that in being in this role, one of the things I do is get to listen very closely to how the Scram Tether works and when a violation occurs and whether it is considered a drinking event or not is a very strenuous process that they use for the Scram Tether. And we went through this last time. And I hear you saying that you deny it then and you deny it now.
Yes.
But the evidence points to the fact that you are actually drinking.
I'm sorry, may I say something else, Your Honor?
Please don't, Mr. Monson. I don't think it's going to help.
Okay.
It is the sentence of this court that you serve 5 days in the Washington County Jail. Continued on your probation, you'll do a review in 60 days.
Thank you, Your Honor. Yep.
Sorry, Mr. Monson.
You're all good. Things happen.
Yeah.
Can I send a text out real quick?
That review will be on May 13th, 2024 at 10 a.m. Court will call the Duncan Scott matters, case numbers 17 FB 1406 and 20 W001891A.
Paul Barnett on behalf of the township.
Assistant Public Defender Sandra White on behalf of Duncan Scott.
I'm here.
Please state your name, sir.
Duncan Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Scott. On December 11th, Mr. Scott was set up with a payment plan of $25 per month.
I did. Oh, sorry.
Mr. Scott has made some payments. He made a $40 payment today.
I flew up there. I've just started to make a little extra money doing a little side job. So I've been trying to put together, and I should receive my license real soon too. I'm hoping on that.
All right, I hope you do get them.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Scott, I'll see you back here on June 10th, 2024 at 10 o'clock a.m., okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
You have a blessed day.
You too. Continue to make your $25 per month payment.
I'm gonna figure out how to fly up there. I got an airplane now.
All right, sir.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
If he actually shows up, yeah.
State of Michigan versus Liza Muckler, 23S00547.
Fortunately, definitely for the people.
Assistant Public Defender Allison Muller on behalf of Liza Muckler. Ms. Muckler, can you unmute and state your name for the record, please?
Liza Muckler.
Hello, Ms. Muckler. I called your case earlier, but you didn't respond.
I don't know what happened. I sent my lawyer a screenshot.
It wouldn't work.
It said the host is not allowing
Oh,
participants to unmute themselves.
I see. I don't know what was going on with theirs. That part wasn't true, but sometimes that happens. All right, Ms. Muckler. All right. She's here for a review today. It looks like she's doing everything she's supposed to be doing, which is very good, Ms. Muckler. I'm very happy to see that.
Thank you.
Let's see, you're checking in like you're supposed to. You made your first payment, you had your assessment, and you're working with your therapist, right?
Yes.
Is there anything you want to say today?
I'm just grateful.
Ms. McDuffie, anything from you?
I thank Ms. Muckler for being compliant. I hope that she's really getting some useful insight into everything that's going on with her and where she wants to be after all of this is over.
Thank you. Anything for you, Ms. Muller?
Your Honor, just two things. I just took over Ms. Muckler's case, but she's, been really a positive person to talk to, seems to have a great attitude about everything. And like you said, doing well. We did just briefly talk about testing. I believe right now she's testing 1 time a month. And Ms. Muckler says, she is, it doesn't bother her to continue doing so, but she said she does not drink. She doesn't use substances, and that wasn't, I believe, part of the allegations of this case. So she just did want to ask the court if at one point the court would consider her to be taken off any type of testing. She's completely understands if not, but she did want to briefly ask that. And then I can just briefly address the second thing after that.
No, let's do them both at the same time.
Okay.
I like your method, but I'm not going to let you do it. Go ahead.
The second part was just she'd really like to go to New York City in July. I told her that was probably a matter she could reach out to Ms. Johnson about, but I just wanted to flag that for the court. I wasn't exactly sure how that worked on probation, but I told Ms. Muckler it's probably best to address that with Ms. Johnson about traveling.
All right, thank you. All right, Ms. McDuffie.
Your Honor, I'll defer to the court and probation on both of those requests.
All right. Anything from you, Ms. Johnson? I see you've unmuted.
Oh, I was just going to say I responded to Ms. Muckler's request about the travel to New York. I just told her as long as she's compliant, that I would grant that as long as I had the dates, and that wouldn't be a problem.
All right, thank you. I don't think that the testing is an issue for Ms. Muckler. I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't, so I will remove the testing.
Yeah, she's fine with that, so I have no objections to that, Your Honor.
That was never my real concern with Ms. Muckler. So I just need her to have insight to who she is and who she's being and showing up as in the world. And I'm hopeful that she's getting there. So she's compliant. I'm going to let her come back for a review on June 10th, 2024 at 10 a.m. If she is still compliant, she can be excused.
Thank you, Your Honor. I do believe Ms. Muckler dropped off the chat. I know she was having some connection issues. She was at work.
I think it's a connection problem. She's here now.
I'm here. It keeps going from 1 to like 3 bars. I'm so sorry.
All right. Did you hear what was said, ma'am? You can stop testing and you'll be allowed to go on your trip as long as you're still compliant. And if you aren't compliant at the next hearing, you can be excused from appearing here. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Take care, Ms. Muckler.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks, Ron.
Your next court date is June 10th at 10 o'clock a.m. also.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Take care.
You too.
Bye-bye. All right, it appears we are still waiting on people to come in so we can have the next case to call. Oh, wait, we might have something.
Well, yeah, let her in. And then I'm gonna let in a phone number, Your Honor, if we could find out who they are.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
All right, there's a phone number that will just allow it in. You can hit *6. What is it again? It's been so long.
*6 to unmute, yeah.
*6 to unmute. And tell us your first and last name.
Yes.
Yes, what is your
Hello?
name? Yes.
Larry Hogan.
Thank you, Mr. Hogan.
Thank you.
Can you see if Ms. Rags has maybe? The court will call the matter of the state of Michigan versus Larry Hogan, case number 20S00592. If you said something, Ms. McDuffie, you were muted.
I wasn't gonna have one of those Mondays. Richie McDuff for the people.
Thank you.
Assistant Public Defender Sandra White on behalf of Larry Hogan.
Thank you. All right, we're here for a review today.
That is correct. Mr. Lebo attempted to talk with Mr. Hogan, but Mr. Hogan would not have a conversation with him. So I don't know if he would allow me to go into a breakout room with him now.
Mr. Hogan, are you counsel, sir?
Yeah, I talked to him. He called.
Okay, so were you able to go through the report?
Yeah, I mean, there's no, and then I've also talked to my probation officer.
Right.
Yeah.
So it looks like Mr. Hogan's doing what he's supposed to be doing at this time. The only issue he had was the fact that his license got suspended, for which he claimed he was in custody, but he wasn't at the time.
Yeah, I was in custody on April 1st, 2022.
That's not when it was suspended, sir.
No, it was suspended a year before that. And I've already been to the Secretary of State and got that taken care of.
So your license is squared away?
No, they said the 14B thing is what's holding me up.
It is.
So I took the test at the Secretary of State.
It is not from the time period you're talking about, sir.
I'm sorry.
It is not from the time period that you're talking about.
Okay.
Your suspension occurred on May 11th. That is
right. They're saying that's what's holding me up to get my license now. I've already took care of the other stuff. Right.
You're correct. 14B is holding you up from getting your license. We agree on that.
Correct. So once I get that taken care of, then I'm eligible to get my license back. So I've done everything I'm supposed to do. I've been everywhere I'm supposed to be. So I've done what you've asked me to do. I haven't gave my probation officer any problem. So I call when I'm supposed to. That's the only, I just don't have a lot of money. You know, I've got my act straight and I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm trying to get my license taken around.
Speaking of the money, sir, you filed a financial hardship form?
Yes, I'm on disability. I can't work, so.
You put down how much you make, but you didn't say how much you're spending. It looks like nothing.
Well, that's just what I pay what I can where I live at. I really don't have rent, none of that, because I pay what I can, and then I only get $86 in food stamps, so I have to live off, most of what I get. So I really don't have any bills, but pay what I can on electricity and that where I stay. Because it depends on how much I don't make a lot during the month, so I have to kind of budget everything.
Ms. White, have you seen this form that he filled out? It tells us that he brings in money, but there is no outlay. So it looks like he would be able to pay $25 per month, which is the payment plan.
I have not seen the form.
The only income I have is state disability.
I see that, sir. I saw what you wrote down. Or it looks like you were able to pay $25 per month. You can pay that $25 per month. Once you paid $50, then you can get your license back.
Okay.
I'll bring you back here on June 10th, 2024 to see how things are going.
Okay.
At 10 a.m. You're all set, sir. Have a good day.
Okay, thank you. You too.
Bye-bye. Ypsilanti Township versus Roslyn Rags, case number 20T00611.
Paul Barnett on behalf of the township.
Assistant Public Defender Sandra White on behalf of Roslyn Rags.
I'm Roslyn Rags.
Thank you. Good morning, Ms. Rags.
Good morning.
All right, we're supposed to be here for a review. And looks like your bond was applied, but you haven't been making any payments on your fines and costs.
Yeah, it was hard, but I can start now because
Okay.
I'll over with.
Have you done your community service, ma'am?
Yes, I already did that. $80 hours, probably like November.
Okay, okay. Have you been reporting to probation? I think we talked about this last time you were here.
Yes, I was reporting.
Okay.
I had one report coming up like this month. So like any day, like right now, today.
All right. I'm gonna adjourn this out to May 13th. I'm gonna put it over, your next court date will be May 13th, 2024 at 10 a.m.
Okay, and this is for payments?
For review and for payment, correct?
Okay.
Do you need a payment plan, ma'am?
I'll probably just, is it possible I could just make my own without committing to one?
No, I'll let you for this next time, but when you come back, we need to have a payment plan, okay?
All right.
All right, thank you. All right. What is failure to appears? All right, we have some failure to appear, State of Michigan versus Terry Brown, case number 22S00870.
Rachel McDuffie for the people.
Assistant Public Defender Sandra White on behalf of Terry Brown. It looks like the phone number we have for him was disconnected. The probate agent Johnson is requesting an adjournment, and we're asking for an adjournment or an adjournment of the show cause.
I don't see that. Where you getting that from?
Mr. Lebo. Well, if that's incorrect, I will be asking for one.
She did. It's up at the top. It's in the body of it. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Highlighted and everything. But I think that was last time.
Okay.
Let me just clarify. Ms. Johnson? No, I think that was for
looks like that, Your Honor, because that reference flows right into him. It cut out. I couldn't hear, but
Can you repeat what you said, please?
Oh yeah, I think that's correct, Your Honor, because the reference for asking for an adjournment flows right into him still being in custody, and then he was released since then. So I think that's correct.
All right, defendant failed to appear at the hearing on January 22nd also, but I adjourned it at the request of the probation agent that time. And so he has failed to appear again. So we're not in the same place anymore.
Hey, we get an adjournment of the show cause.
This is a VOP, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Bench warrant to issue. 5,000, 10%. I got it.
Yeah.
State of Michigan versus Kevin Stevenson, case number 23FB 1039.
Rachel McDuffie for the people.
Assistant Public Defender Sandra White on behalf of Kevin Stevenson. It looks like the phone numbers that we have are not working. His report was good, so if we can get an adjournment of the review.
Ms. McDuffie?
Well, Your Honor, I'm just trying to check because I know that Mr. Stevenson, this is an interesting posture. Mr. Stevenson specifically requested to stop the PR, or he didn't want to bind because he wanted to continue on probation with this case and he didn't want to use up his time. So I see that he was released to treatment on his pending felony matter. He's usually in custody when we see him. And I was just trying to quickly check that file to see what that status is.
Okay.
He had an arraignment on a bench warrant. Something was issued for him. He failed to appear on 2/26. He got arraigned on that warrant. The warrant was recalled and he's reset for another pretrial on this Wednesday. So let's see here. I'm sorry, Your Honor.
I'm gonna adjourn him out for 2 weeks and see if he shows up then.
Let's do that.
March 25th, 2024 at 10 a.m. He could be in the program and they didn't bring him today, so we'll see. State of Michigan versus Francisco Trujillo, case number 23S00512.
Rachel McDuffie for the people.
I'm just checking.
This is a Shimke case.
Okay.
Defendant has failed to appear or reach out to the probation agent after being discharged from Bear River. So there's a failure to report and failure to sign the PSI contracts. And he has failed to appear today as well. Anything from the people?
Your Honor, the trouble with this is that Mr. Trujillo, you probably recall, has always had an extremely terrible phone connection when he was at Bear River, and I don't think we've ever seen him in any other location. So I don't really know what his situation is in terms of logging into court, but he should have been in contact with probation. I have no idea what's going on with him at all. I guess, is this his first time failing to appear for court? The combination of him not being in contact with probation, I don't know. I know
510% bench warrant to issue.
I would request a bench warrant, but I'm a little bit hesitant. Yeah. Thank you.
State of Michigan versus Quintel Kirkland, case number 21-00122.
Rachel McDuffie for the people.
Defendant has failed to appear. Defendant also was told to clear up about 6 other warrants that he has not done, and he has not done so.
Correct, Your Honor. Yes, I was requesting one. Go ahead.
Bench warrant to issue, no bond.
I think we need to make an appearance. I'm sorry. Assistant Public Defender Sandra White on behalf of Quintel Kirkland.
Thank you.